Welcome back to Learning Partner. So in this video, we are going to see how we do the CRUD operation using JSON server. Now, what is JSON server? Is it like creating a JSON file and calling that? So all things we are going to see, because most of the like considering nowadays, when you are appearing for the interview, once you are done with your theoretical question, everyone is asking you to perform some machine test or coding round, right? So in that they will provide you a scenario where scenario can be anything, but they will ask you to do the either companies will provide you the API. Most of the companies doesn't have API. So they will ask you to do the same thing with JSON server. So how do you actually do all that? Whatever, let's say it might be an employee registration app or a user registration app or a budget tracker or a, let's say, parking ticket, whatever it can be. Small scenarios will be there, but they will ask you to do the same thing by using JSON server. So how do we actually do that? So just a simple application we will be trying, but in your case, your JSON will be different. That's it. But the basic way how you are going to do it, and most of the guys are asking me, like, when you are working with the JSON server file dot, let's say you are creating a new user. So user won't actually get created because we are dealing with the JSON server, correct? So it's just a mock API. As company didn't provide us any API, so we are mocking a API using JSON server. So let's try that now. Now, what I have done is like empty project I have created. And after empty project creation, what I have done, I have installed the Bootstrap. So this is the command npm bootstrap. First of all, this is the command to create the new project. I'm using Angular 17.3. So ng new project name. This is the command to create the new project. After project, I have installed Bootstrap. So this is the command, and npm font awesome. This you can run in your command terminal over here. And once I have added that, I have to add these links into my angular.json in the style section. So these are the initial things I have done. Now, after that, first thing, as we know, like we are going to deal with the JSON server. So we need to install that also. So this is the command to install it. So I will just copy it and I will paste it over here. So what it will do, it will install the JSON server in my system. It will take some time. So let it. Once you install this, after that, what the next step is, you need to create a db.json. So outside your folder, just create a new file, and here let's say db.json. Now, inside this db.json, you have to create object, and let's say first property, let's say users. Let me enclose that in double quotes. And inside that user, let's say user ID. Just I'm creating a dummy data 121 username. Why it's giving error? Does it need in a single quote? Yeah, let's try like this. Oh, I think single quote doesn't work in JSON file. Let's try. This is the first time I'm also trying. This is one object, second object, third object, fourth object. Let's change the ID a little bit. 4. A, B, C, D, E, F, L, M, N, X, Y, Z. Now, so once you install this, after that, you have created a db.json, and then you need to run this server also. So once you create the db file, you need to run it. So this is the command to run it. So over here, I will run the JSON server now. So now you can see in this file db.json, I have just added one object, that is user. So here you can see we got one endpoint only. Sorry, I tried copy pasting. Follow link. So now you can see if I hit this, I get the data, whatever I have stored over there. Let's try to, after this user, let's try what we can say, let's say employee list, colon, square bracket, again, let's say EMP ID. Oh, everything needs to be in double quotes. EMP ID, let's say EMP ID will be 311 emp name, city. Since this is just a mock API, so you can create whatever you need like this. Whatever the properties you need, what according to the scenario you have. If they have asked you to create an employee application, you will create employee object like that. Now you can see just I saved, you can see another API is there. 3000 by default, it is running on the 3000 port employee list. So let's check this also. Let's try to duplicate and then it will be whatever the object name you specify, employee list, enter. I think we made the spelling mistake. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So now you can see an employee object we have created too. So now you can see this is nothing but a URL. This is like normal API. You are trying to access a URL and the return type, like if you are accessing this URL, you are getting some data, correct? So this is like actual API, but this is API created by you, just a mock API, right? Now let's for this application, for this video, we will consider like we want to create a user registration app. So basic CRUD operation we will try. Now, coming back to our project. So we have created one that is user list. So let's rename it. Let's say this is user list. Then we will need of one object. Let's say create user colon. In this, we are going to keep one object. Then, sorry, we don't need this. Or here also we will modify a little bit. Inside this update, let's say result property. Move data. And in data, I will put my object. So you can see in create user object, I have created user result property, which is true. And in data, I'm passing the ID. Just like that, I will create one more that will be update user. Instead of this, here also same thing. And one more delete user. Let's remove the employee list. We are not going to need that. And just like that, let's create a city list also. List colon. This will have a string array of city. Pune, Mumbai, Thane. Correct. So see, in our JSON file, what we have created certain user list, then city list, create user object, update user object, and delete user object. Like that, you can see it is running on the particular port also. Correct. So we have created our mock server. In mock server, we have specified certain object. In that certain object, we have stored some particular data. Now in app component, this is by default code what we get. Now here we will create a row column structure. Let me just create a basic UI. Let's say call it, and we will create a card hyphen header dot bg success. And here also I will create row dot call 6. Let me just complete the UI first. Let's say user list, and here will be button class btn primary btn sm. So this is card header, then we need card body. In card body, we will have table. Let me just add an empty table first. So after this call it, we will just copy this and we will need. So call it is there. So call 4 is remaining. And here will be new user. We add new. and it will be close. Let me just save and let me show you how it is looking. So you can see this is the content what we have created. Let me just add a text end class. So now here you can see in this card, we are going to show the table, whatever the users we have. And in this card, we are going to have the form. So now let's go to Bootstrap site and let's try to get the form. I'm just trying to save the time so that we can focus more on the functionality where we have the form proper. Where do we have form? Validation should be there. Yeah. So let's try to use this. Let's copy. Now over here, we will have the form. We don't need this. Let's save. Where it is? Somewhere ampersand is there. Let's remove that. Where it is, but why it's not visible? Oh, inside table we have. Let's say incomplete at the rate. If you should use on line number 52. Where is line number 52? Okay, that symbol was there. Right? So here we have. So let's redesign the db.json. So let's say what number of fields we have, first name, last name, and the username. So let's create like that. So username, then f name, make sure you add everything in the double quotes. I don't know, it is with my system also, or is it like we need to pass like this? What else we have? City, state, and the zip code. So let's add city, state, zip code. First letter we will start with small case so that we will have something unique. This will be F. Right, so let's copy this. Correct. So we have added some proper data. Now, this is the same object we will have over here also. Let's copy the things. We'll put it over here also, and over here also. Just like city list, we will create the state list also because we have state in the object. So let's create that array also. Maharashtra, Goa, Punjab. Okay, so see, this is how our object is going to be. Now, in app component, let's redesign the form first. So we have first name, last name, username is also there, city, state, and the zip code. That's it. Now, these are the fields we are going to have. So in app component, now we have to use we are going to use the template form. So obviously, when we talk about template form, we need to import the forms module. So this is Angular 17. So we don't have app module. So in the component itself, we need to add it. Forms module. Then here we can create an interface. So export. Or let's create class user. Whatever the field we said, let's create the class for that. So user ID, it will have number as a data type. Then username, it will be string. Make sure you are appearing for the interview now. So make sure you are creating class and interface and everywhere where it is necessary. Don't declare variable with any and anything. Correct. So always try to use whatever things or proper coding guidelines are there. So you should follow that. City, string. In my most of the videos, I don't follow that because videos are long enough. So it takes time to create this. So that's why I try to skip it, but you should not skip it. You have to write it. String. Sorry, it should be semicolon, semicolon. Now we have created the properties, but it's saying it's not initialized. See, so since it is a class, so we have access to the constructor. In constructor, we need to initialize all the properties. So what we can say is user ID, we will initialize with 0 and remaining with empty. This is something tedious work, but anyhow we have to do it. So this dot username is remaining. What else is there? Zip code. Now you can see error is gone. Let's format it. Now, so we have created class. Now we have to create an object user obj colon. Now data type, instead of writing it any, we can use our class name, that is user. We'll go over here, is equal to new. We will initialize that like this. Now we have implemented the form. We have added form module also. We have created object. Now this object we can bind to our form using forms module. So now you can see all our element is inside the form tag. So name attribute also got mandatory. So name attribute and square bracket, round bracket, ng model. And here you need to bind the object and the property. So user object dot. So see, the benefit of creating class, you get everything's intelligence. But let's make it any. Let's initialize something like this. So if it is any, you won't get any suggestion. But if you strongly type everything, you will get intelligence and everything. So you won't be making spelling mistake. Now let's just copy paste this. Or again, a shortcut like we can search for this class and we will replace that with this thing. Replace all. So you don't have to do it again. Now here, this is for first name. So F name will go over here. The same name you need to copy paste over here. Try to use the copy paste things, like it will speed up the process so that you can focus on more functionalities like validation and everything. UI part also you can take care. So don't try to waste your time designing and repeating same thing again and again. For city also, we can use the drop down only. So let's copy this. Let's paste it over here. For city and the state, we will create the drop down. So we can cover the, what do we say, ng for also. City. And same thing, it will go over here, which is state. So let's copy paste this city. Correct. So now after creating object, we have binded that object with the form also. Okay, zip code is remaining. Now, so over here, we need city and the state, but city and state should come from my API. So here we have to write the actual API. Now in Angular, from Angular 16, we have got something inject. So I'm going to make an API call. So obviously we have to make API call on using HTTP client library, right? So we will create HTTP client library object. So HTTP is equal to inject. Instead of injecting that service into constructor, this is the new thing. So we will try to use it. HTTP client. So this is equivalent to this, what we used to do like this now. So whatever we have written like this is equivalent to this. But this is just a new thing we have got now. But if you remember in the older version, if you have to use the HTTP client, in app module, we used to add HTTP client module. But here we don't have it. So, but if we have app config, so in app config, you can write provide HTTP client. This, you can do it. This is equivalent to HTTP client module. Let's close it. Now, on the page load, we have to call city and state and user list also. So we need to implement on init. Then we need to implement it also. Once we implement, it will ask us to create this function. Now let's create get city. Now here this dot HTTP dot get method. Now we know the URL. So here you can see this is the URL and city. What is the property name? City list. Yeah. So try to use the exactly same. Okay. Then only you will get it data. So now you can see this is the URL. This URL you need to pass over here. This is like you have created your own URL and you are consuming the data from that. So dot subscribe from bracket result colon any. Now we know that we are from this API, we are going to get the array of string. So now instead of result colon any, we can say it is going to be string of array. Correct? Why it is saying error? Why it is saying error? Void is not assignable. And after this also, I think we need to specify string. Yeah. So basically, once you provide the data type over here, you need to provide the data type over here also, like what kind of method or what kind of data from this observable you are going to get. Now, we need to create a variable. Now, there is one way, either you can create a variable and you can store the data into variable and then variable, you can bind it to the ng for. But instead of that, if you are appearing for the interview, you have to showcase your skill. Try to use the async pipe. That will you showcase your skill, right? So what I will do, I will create just an observable city list dollar colon observable. Just a data type I'm specifying. Why it's not suggesting? Let's add the import first. Import will be from RxJS. Because that is the place where you can showcase like these are the various topics you know. So try to use that moment, whatever the things you know, try to make use of that string of array. It will ask us to initialize also. Let's try to initialize new. How do we initialize that now? Like this. Okay, let it be. So this is how we have created an observable. Now in ng on init, or instead of creating this function, what we can do, we just need this in ng on init. What we can do, this dot city list is equal to this. So what we are doing, we are not subscribing that. What we are doing, we are just storing the reference of this API, means we are creating an observable over here. Now this observable we can call directly into HTML, means we are directly going to subscribe the data, whatever we are going to get from that API into HTML only. So here on this option, we will use it. Now here again, either you can use ng for, but if you have to use the ng for in import section, you need to add common module. But instead of that, from Angular 17, we have got something new, that is control flow statement. So you can make use of that. So that is @ for, and here we can use observable. Since this is an observable, we have to subscribe to that by using async pipe. Let's add it over here, async pipe. So in the older version, async, all the pipes were by default available. We can use it. But since Angular 17, everything, whatever you use, you need to import that. We need to follow that standard. So now you can see async pipe is there. Now option should be dynamic. So here it's an array of string only. So item, I will print it over here. Why it is saying, oh, sorry. We need to wrap this option inside our for loop. Let's just save this and let's check if we are able to see the options, whatever we have. Currently, we just have 3 cities. We should be able to see the 3 options over there. See, data is coming. So this is like what we have created in component.ts. We have just created an observable, and to this observable, we have provided the output of this, right? And in HTML, we are subscribing it. The benefit of it, you don't need to unsubscribe it. So just like this, again, we need to create one more observable that will be for state. So we will just change the name state, and just like this, we will create state list, and instead of city list, our second API is for state list. So that is the name. It will go over here. Now, just like this, I will just copy paste it now. Over here, instead of city list, we have to use state list. That's it. So let's save and check if cities and states are coming from our API. See, it is coming. Now, next thing is like on submit, right? One more thing. We need to call the user list also, so that in the table we can show it. Let's get the table first. Where do we have table? Bootstrap table. Let's get this basic one. I'm just copy pasting because I don't want to waste the time in UI designing. But you should, while you are practicing, while you are doing practice, you should write everything. Now, first name, last name, username. Then what else we have got? City, state, we will show it over here. These are the static one. Correct. Now, just like this, again, we can, so as we have for cities and the state, we have used the observable. Now we will create a normal function, get users. Normal will also be familiar. So this dot http dot get for user, what is the API? API will be user list. So this we will pass it over here. And this is the normal way how we used to do it. Result. And any. Now we know get use this user list is going to return the data type of user object array, correct? So instead of writing this as any, we can provide user and array. Again, here also we need to specify user square bracket like this. So now you can see error is gone. Now here, whatever the response we are going to get from this API, we need to store it also. So user list colon user array, we will initialize with empty array. Correct? Like this. Now, whatever the response we get, that we need to store it over here. So this dot user list is equal to res like this. And this we will call over here. So this is the normal way. If you are not familiar with the signal, still this way is also okay. But if you want to showcase your skill, you should always go with the async. No. So because this way they will understand, like, you know how you use the observable, how to use consume that in the HTML. This actually showcase your skill. Everyone knows this, but what set apart from you other candidate, right? So that you need to figure it out. So try to use it, correct? Now, and let's bind this. So again, like this is the new thing. But if you have to use ng for also, that you can do. But if you are giving the machine test in Angular 17, try to use the latest thing only. Even though project is not with Angular 17, but everyone is trying to see what thing you know or you are updated or not. So that is what they are going to check. Index, we will print it over here. Indexing will normally start with 0, so we will just make it +1. Now over here, we need to display item dot. See, it is also suggesting. Let's just copy paste. After first name, we have last name. Then we have username. Then we have city. Then state. Zip code we won't show. Let's save this. Now in our table, we should have the data available. See, why city and state is not coming? I think property mismatch is there. This is capital. Okay, empty it is. Let's add Pune, Mumbai, Thane, Mumbai. Let's add the state also. Save. Correct. So now you can see data is properly visible. Now let's try to do the CRUD operation. Now, obviously, this is everything is mock. So when you when you click on create new user, it is not actually going to create the new user, but you can see the API call happening. So in app component, we have this form. On click of form, we have the submit button. Let's make it button. And over here, we will call click on save user. While creating variable name and the function name, try to follow the nomenclature. How do we create? If it is a combination of two words, first letter should be small, second should be capital, like this. Now here, this dot http dot post. Now post API required two parameters. First, the URL. So let's get the URL. So URL is this create user. Then we need to send the object. Object is nothing but the user object, what we have binded to the form. Dot subscribe result colon any, or we are going to get the user data only single user. So here you can see from this API, we used to get the multiple object. So that's why we have said array over here. But from post API, we are going to get result and the property. Let's try to return the result only. Or what we can do, let's return the result only. Let's not make it complicated. So here you can see from you create user, we are going to return just the object, directly the object, whatever the object we have sent. Let's format it out. Okay, so create user is going to return the single object. So that is the response we have put it over here. After this also we need to put user like this. Right, so here we can show the alert box like user got created successfully, user created. Let's save and check. Now just pay attention to the network tab. So obviously we won't be able to make the changes because everything is mock. Let's say QQ. Let's say select Mumbai state pin code. Now on click of submit, you can see one API call is there. Why it is saying 404? So when it comes to JSON file, everything is get only. So try to make it get. But since you need to showcase the code, so you can make comment like this. So let it be post. And let's remove this. Let's save. Let's try one more time. So now in network, on submit, you can see one API is there and create user is also success. Now, after creating, the API call is success, but data is not visible. So just a temporary fix, what you can do, you have got this array, correct? User list, so you can push the data. So once API call is success, what you can do, this dot user list dot unshipped or push unship so that it will add it at the top. And this object, you can add it over here so that actually in the array also, in the table, you can see the latest data. Let's try QQWW. So now you can see updated record is visible over here. But again, if you refresh, the same data will be visible because this is mock API. Like this, you can do. Let's try the update and the delete. So now for edit, first in the table, you need to add an edit button. So let's add a TH over here. Action. In TD, we will need two buttons, one for the edit and one for the delete. Primary. This will be for edit and one more button for the delete. This will be, let's say, delete. Let's first complete the delete. Now on click of delete, what we need to do, we just need to call API and we just need to show the confirm box also. So on click on delete, everything is mock, but make sure you are passing everything correctly. If it is a real API, we might be passing user ID. So from here, you can pass user ID. Let's create a function where we will accept that as a parameter. Everything code should be like that. You are consuming an actual API, but it's a dummy one. But you need to complete everything. ID, colon number. And we can make API call just like that. We didn't create it now. Yeah, for delete also we have created. So let's do that. So delete user, you can call or whatever here. But before making API call, you need to show that warning. Are you sure you want to delete or not? So that you can handle like that. Delete is equal to confirm box you can use. And here you can pass the message. Are you sure want to delete? So with confirm box, we will get OK and the close. If user clicks on OK, the output of this will be true. So here you can add it like this. And API call will be over here. And here you can say user, instead of created, it will be like deleted success. Let's check it. Correct. Now see, if I click on delete, and if I click on cancel, nothing is happening. But if I click on delete, and if I click on OK, see API call is there like this. Correct. Again, you can just slice the particular object also from the array. So that record will actually get deleted. Correct. Now, what else is remaining is like delete, edit part. So on click of edit, whatever the record you want to edit, that you need to send it as a parameter. So on edit, so whole object you can send. Let's create this function. And data, it will be of type user. And this dot user object is equal to, you will assign the data, whatever the parameter you get. So let's save and check if we are editing mode. On click of edit, you can see data is getting populated over here. Correct. Now you can just make the update call also, just like the save call, you will have update button, or even the same function also you can use. Correct. So this is how you create the JSON server API integration. So always remember, this is everything is mock. You will be simulating everything as in you are actually hitting the API. You will create everything like whatever you create in the normal API call. You need to imagine like you are actually making an API call. Whatever the things you will do in case of real API call, you will do everything like that. So this is how you should target whenever you are offering for an interview when they will ask you to perform any normal machine test with JSON server, if they provide API, well and good. But if they don't provide, you can use the JSON server and you can create as much as object, whatever you need. And like that API will be running over here. But make sure you create the db.json outside the folder, and there in the outside folder only you need to run this command to run the JSON server. If you put this db.json inside that, then this server will not run. On that particular folder only, you need to run that particular command. So make sure that you don't make that mistake. Okay. So that's it with the current video. If you're new, please do like, follow, and like my channel. Thank you.